as we get started for the second quarter here. Lake Central bring their starting 5 out to start. These two teams this year have had a bit of a rivalry with each other, or these two schools, I should say.
Yeah, Lake Central defeated Morton in the soccer sectional final a few months ago. Also beat them in volleyball in the sectional in the first round.
And we were both there for that soccer game. One of the best games I've ever seen, hands down.
Absolutely.
Anyway, back to basketball. Tomzik to Jack Davis. Jack Davis, no good. And Jack Davis thought he was fouled there.
One of the things you want to avoid in these situations is just getting too comfortable taking those kinds of threes, because that's not a great look. So you definitely want to limit falling in love with the three as much as possible.
Here we go, Keon Lane. He's doing Matt Collins. Collins to Miguel Burns. Mingo to Kyrie Hines. Collins, excuse me, Mingo. And Tomzik gets the steal. Can he get the easy two? Yes. Lake Central now up 20-15. Great steal by Connor Tomzik, able to get the layup right there for Lake Central.
We apologize for any audio issues we've been having.
Jack Davis defending Mingo. 3, no good. Hobbs able to get the rebound. Derek Hobbs takes it up. Jack Davis, he'll take that look all day long, and he's gonna hit it. Puts Lake Central up by 8. Jack Davis, what a start he's had to this game. 3 3-pointers tonight.
He has looked tremendous taking that shot. He looks very confident, and I mean, if it's open like that, you got to take it. If you're Morton, you have to limit those threes in transition, because that's gonna lose you the game, having to constantly match those 3-pointers. We almost saw it last night with Lake Central and Munster. Lake Central was having trouble for a while there matching the 3-point ability of Munster, and luckily for Lake Central, they were able to start finding some deeper looks, and they were limiting the 3-point shots of Munster. So Morton's going to have to try to perhaps copy that strategy a little bit, because Jack Davis is on fire.
Yes, indeed. And if you're Lake Central, if you keep getting those open looks, you got to take them. They keep going in.
Not only that, but staying aggressive on the defensive end like they were on that last play.
Mingo gets it to Kyrie Hines. Keon Lane is going to be called for a travel. That one looked pretty clear to me.
Lake Central has begun to put the pressure on the defensive end, and you can see Morton's having a little trouble dealing with it. Not used to teams pressing them as hard.
And we've seen twice tonight, Morton's turned the ball over because of a travel. First it was Matt Collins, and right there it was Keon Lane. Go Hobbs to Graciano. Graciano going inside. No good. Mingo. Tomzik almost had another steal. Keon Lane. Looking for Matt Collins. Matt Collins goes up. No good. He'll come to the line to shoot free throws.
That's a good look there for Morton. You'd like for him to hit it, but certainly. And now look at, coach is going to talk to all the players except for Monte Collins.
And the student section not going to make it easy to make these 2 free throws. This one is good.
It's going to be hard to rattle the senior, though.
He prepares to shoot his second free throw. This one's up, and it is good. Hobbs to Graciano. Back to Hobbs. Looks like Morton's starting to press a little bit on Lake Central. Jack Davis to Tomzik. Jack Davis for 3. No good. Graciano almost had the rebound. And that one is going to go back to Morton.
Yeah, and again, you know, you like the shot, you like that he's comfortable with it, but you got to be careful because you're falling in love with the three offensively if you're Lake Central, and you can't have that happen.
Mingo to Collins. It's Keon Lane. Collins defended by Jack Davis. Just for Mingo. It's Keon Lane. Keon Lane puts one up, and it is no good. Morton had the rebound for a second, but Keon Sellers was able to snag it away. Derek Hobbs taking it up. Hobbs to Jack Davis. Jack Davis to Hobbs. Hobbs going inside, and it is good. Puts Lake Central up by 8.
And that's his bread and butter right there. He loves to lift weights, and he loves to be strong. So what's his game on the basketball court? Attack the basket.
And he's really just like the type of player that makes everyone else around him better. And it won't show up on the stat sheets, but he really does make everyone on the court better, and the team really does love him.
Something interesting here, Lake Central has gone a bit to a zone defense. Timeout more.
Timeout.
We'll talk a little bit about that. The zone defense switch. Lake Central started off man-to-man. Now they've moved to the zone, and we saw it created a lot of bad looks for Morton early on. Now Morton, having adjusted to it a little bit, having been able to talk it over, seemed to be more comfortable against it. Still, an interesting change by Milosnik in this first half.
And this time out, Morton's got to be emphasizing you cannot let the game get away from you. Lake Central has played very well in the second quarter during this tournament.
Yes, they have, and you talked about it a little bit, but you're right. Morton has to try to keep this game close because we've seen them just through sheer will and determination come back in these games. The game's got to be within reach if you want to do that.
Kyrie Hines not getting a warm welcome from the Lake Central fans. Back to Kyrie Hines. Back to Mingo. Mingo for 3. And it is no good. Keon Sellers able to get the rebound.
Good box out there by Jack Davis. Doesn't look like the biggest guy, but right there he showed his strength.
Jack Davis. Keon Sellers. Connor Tomzik. Tomzik tried to pass it out in the hands of Keon Sellers. Sellers thought he got fouled, and Sellers able to get it back to Tomzik. Tomzik for 3. No good. Graciano with the rebound. Tries to put it back in. Sellers couldn't put it back in. Graciano with another rebound, and Graciano puts it in.
Great hustle there by everybody on the offensive end.
And if you're Morton, you got to be very frustrated right there. You let them get 4 offensive boards. Keon Lane for 3. That one is good. Keon Lane, again, not afraid to show the range. He's got all the way from the DAC logo.
Yeah, that's got some incredible range there.
Davis to Graciano. Graciano gets blocked, and it's going to be a foul on Christopher Mingo.
Right, Graciano takes advantage of the size mismatch there. He's got a lot of size on Mingo, and Mingo doing his best as he can, really. Tracy Siggers tries to come over with the help, and it's just too late. Mingo has to commit the foul to keep Graciano from getting an easy 2.
We'll come to the line to shoot 2 free throws. Nick Anderson, Dominic Straponi, and Isaac B. prepare to come back into this game. Graciano, no good, first time.
That's the second Lake Central free throw that's been short.
Keon Sellers, Jack Davis, and Derek Hobbs will check out of this game.
And again, Lake Central in the bonus. They'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way in this first half.
Graciano missed his first one. Let's see how he does on the second one. This one's up, and it is good. Keon Lane. Gets it to Clopton. And again, it's a Little for 3. And that one's no good. Air ball by Little.
Same deal as Jack Davis. You can't fall in love with a 3.
Graciano drives, and he is fouled again. Graciano is just a tank when he goes inside. Very hard to stop. Seems like he's a mismatch on everyone.
Yeah, he's a real freak when he gets the ball and attacks the paint like that. And it would not surprise me to see Lake Central attack the basket a lot in these final 2.5 minutes with them being in the bonus.
Graciano puts that one up and no good. Not too happy with himself. Connor Tomczyk will check out. Zach Dubos will come back in.
Well, it's one thing to be in the bonus, but you have to take advantage of it if you're Lake Central. That's too many missed opportunities in this first half alone.
Graciano, no good. 0 for 2 from the line. Not what you wanted. Chance to go up 10. Couldn't take advantage. Little. And it's Kyrie Hines again. Back to Lytle. Lytle gets it to Clapton, and Clapton hits the 3. Beatty. Looking for something. Gets to Schiappone. Schiappone goes to Graciano, and that one is stolen by Matt Collins. 3 from Keon Lane, no good. And Collins able to get that one. Collins to Keon Lane. Keon Lane defended by Nick Anderson, last night's hero. Keon Lane gets it to Collins. Collins going inside. That one is no good. Graciano with the board. Beatty takes it up. Schiappone. Chance for the 2. No good. Dubos able to get back. And Dubos looks like there was some contact on the way up. No foul called. Keon Lane gets that one taken by Betty. Nick Anderson able to come up with it. Anderson to Beatty. Beatty gets to Schiappone. Schiappone is fouled on the way up by Collins. .1 seconds left to play in this second quarter.
We'll see if Schiappone can break the curse that Lake Central have going at the free throw line thus far.
Lake Central, if they just start hitting some of these free throws, they could really start to run away with this game. Gets the first one. Jack Davis, Derek Hobbs, Connor Tomczyk, and Keon Sellers will check in for Nick Anderson, Zach Dubos, and Isaac Beatty.
And I would expect Morton to maybe take a lot of time on this next possession. Don't want Lake Central to have another momentum changer at the half.
That one's in. Keon Sellers will come in for Dominic Schiappone.
Starting 5 back on the floor for Lake Central.
Here we go, it's Collins. It's a little. Clapton for 3. That one is good.
How about that? A little Mamba mentality from Kobe Clapton.
Hobbs. But Lake Central will most likely hold it for this possession. Sellers gets it to Graciano. Graciano, Jack Davis. Jack Davis has been great all night, and he is fouled. Jack Davis will come to the free throw line with 14 seconds to play.
Aggressive defense there by Morton. They're going to risk sending Davis to the line here to get the last shot of the half.
There you go. Jack Davis prepares to shoot 2 free throws. Jack Davis puts one up. It is good. Jack Davis, actually the founder of his own club here at Lake Central, Christ in Numbers. So it's a great thing he does around the community of Lake Central. Second one is up, and that one is no good. Keon Lane, final 10 seconds. Miguel Burns to Keon Lane. 5 seconds. Keon Lane, let's see what they can do. Lane puts up a three. Hits the three at the buzzer. Wow.
Those are the kinds of shots that change games, Giovanni.
Yes, indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, Lake Central up 31-29 at the end of the first half. We're going to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Lake Central up 31-29 to begin the second half. The five for Lake Central will be Derek Hobbs, Connor Tomczyk, Justin Graciano, Jack Davis, and Keon Sellers. Here we go, it's Amont Collins. Taking it up. Gets to Kyrie Hines. And that one is no good. And we saw at the end of the second half, Morton was starting to find their rhythm on offense.
Yeah, and those end of half runs, sometimes the momentum can go away, but we saw in Wednesday's game, Lake Central against Crown Point, Nick Anderson had that big 4-point play. That was the difference between an 8-point game and a 12-point game. So I think those end of run halves are extremely important.
And to end the half, we had Keon Lane's big three right at the buzzer. Davis to Graciano. Graciano to Tomczyk. Tomczyk takes a shot. Tomczyk to Hobbs. Hobbs to Sellers. Sellers goes inside. That one is good. Number 13, Kobe Clopton, was able to get a hand on that one.
Interesting there. Morton was doubling the ball, and when you double the ball, one of the weaknesses is that the paint tends to come open.
Keon Lane, Graciano able to get the steal. Graciano to Keon Sellers. Keon Sellers with the layup.
And that doesn't happen without the hustle of Sellers following the play.
He was able to snag that ball and get the easy two. Collins. Monte Collins with the screen. Clopton goes inside. That one is good right off the backboard. Doesn't get much cleaner than that.
That was a good looking shot.
Hobbs inside. Puts in the two.
Like I said, if Hobbs could live there, that's where he would go because it's his bread and butter to just attack the basket and lay it up and in.
Kyrie Hines, very warm welcome from the student section. Keon Sellers couldn't hang on to it, almost had a steal, and this one's going to go back to Morton as they call a timeout.
Quick thinking there by Lush. He doesn't want to lose possession.
And Sellers came up a little shaky on that one. Looks like he's holding on to the back of his head. Looks like he'll just shake that one off.
Sectional championship game. Everybody's leaving everything on the floor.
It's been a very close game so far. Lake Central's come out strong to start off the third quarter.
Yeah, and it's very important for Lake Central to do that. Like I said, to kill that momentum that Morton kind of established at the end of the first half. And if you're Morton, and if you're going to double the ball, I applaud their effort there because I think it could work. But if you're going to double the ball, you have to make sure that somebody's always near the basket because otherwise you get open layups the way Sellers did.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the sectional championship tonight. The nets will be cut down. And I'm sure Lake Central, at the beginning of the year, they said they want to cut the nets down in their home court. And if they can hang on to this lead, they will certainly be able to do that. Shaponi checks into the game for Keon Sellers. Kyrie Hines to Amont Collins. Keon Lane. Inside to Kyrie Hines. Clopton against Graciano. Goes inside for the two. That one is no good. Tomczyk tips it to Graciano. And a foul called on Clopton.
And even though Lake Central didn't take advantage of their trips to the line in the first half, you still, if you're Morton, you can't get back to the bonus so quickly for Lake Central because you're going to need to keep them off the line.
Hobbs. Nice move by him. Hobbs trying to find something, gets it to Shaponi. Graciano. Graciano going inside, and he gets the two. Again, Graciano, basically a mismatch for anyone trying to defend him. Big, strong dude. Three. That one is no good. Jonathan Little. Tomczyk Goes up for the layup, and he's able to get a chance at a three-point play. Puts Lake Central up by 10.
Morton's transition defense in this game has been very bad. It's in these kinds of situations where they miss the shot and they've got three guys not even close to the halfway line. Tomzek is able to get to the basket, and a poor foul choice as well.
Tomzek, first one up. Good.
3 points the hard way.
Lane. Not a great start to this second half for Morton.
A double-digit lead for Lake Central now.
Kyrie Hines gets it to Clapton. Collins, that's Keon Lane. Keon Lane. To Clapton. Clapton couldn't hang on to that. Hobbs fell to the ground, able to get to Graciano.
Good awareness there by Hobbs just to tap it back.
Hobbs, very smart player, rarely makes the wrong decision on offense. And that one is tipped by Morton, and it's going to come back to Lake Central.
Yeah, and you can't say enough about Hobbs' vision as the point guard. On one of those previous plays, and this is what helps, when he is attacking the basket and making shots, people do tend to start coming towards and they gravitate away from their players, so it allows them to find an open look.
Jack Davis, corner three, hits the three, puts Lake Central up by 17.
Right on cue.
Excuse me, they'll go up by 14. 4:20 to go in this game. Lake Central now up by 14. Collins. To Kyrie Hines. Kyrie Hines. Hines and a travel. Called on Morton.
Unfortunately for them, that play, they ran a set play there. They get the screen and then they push it out outside, but he gets called for the travel.
That's three very sloppy turnovers for Morton tonight. And that's why you're down 14. Graciano going inside. Tomzek, Hobbs. Trying to find a good look. Jack Davis, corner three. No good. Jack Davis has been great tonight.
He's been living on the three-point line.
From three. Collins gets fouled on the way up by Jack Davis.
And in a 14-point game, Morton would do well to try to get to the bonus as quickly as possible if they can, because every point you can get while the clock is stopped is valuable.
Collins, first one's up. That one is no good. You're down 14. You cannot afford to be missing free throws at this point.
Exactly. My advice only applies if you're actually hitting the free throws.
Graciano, Jack Davis, and Tomzek will check out. Dubos, Nick Anderson, and Keon Sellers will come into this game. Second one is up, and it is good. Able to cut the lead to 13. And he goes to Dubos. Dubos for two. This one no good. Sellers almost had the rebound, and that one's going to go back to Morton.
Morton doubled Hobbs at half court, forced him to make a pass. He did end up finding the open man. Lake Central unable to take advantage of it.
We do have to mention, we do have a camera on the ground tonight. Hines to Collins. Collins, Keon Lane. Back to Kyrie Hines. Matt Collins. Keon Lane for three. No good. Mingo. No good. Derek Hobbs able to come up with the rebound. Hobbs can't hang on to it. Dubos puts up a two. That one is no good. And able to keep it in. Sellers with the two. Zach Dubos, what a pass by him.
And an
Great
ill-advised
awareness.
save by Amante Collins right there. You got to let that one go out of bounds.
Morton really starting to lose control of this game. Mingo makes the shot.
And I've been impressed by Mingo's ability to get those kinds of shots. He just hasn't hit them.
Listen, Morton, they're used to playing down, but they cannot dig themselves in too deep of a hole. And he is fouled by Kobe Clopton. He'll send Keon Sellers, the senior, to the line. Keon Sellers is a great athlete. In the fall, he played football for Lake Central, played as a wide receiver. A lot of multi-sport athletes on this team. Connor Tomczyk is also a baseball player here at Lake Central, along with Kyle Blum. And his free throw is good. Keon Sellers actually came up with 2 great free throws last night in the final minute of the Munster game.
It's true. When the lights were brightest, Sellers was able to come through for the Indians.
He was able to put them up by 2. Tomczyk and Dubos check out this game. Graciano and Connor Tomczyk will come in. .159 left in this third quarter. Keon Sellers hits both of them. Keon Lane to Collins. Collins, defended by Beatty. Beatty just a relentless defender, very fast. Kyrie Hines. Mingo for 3, no good. And Mont Collins able to get the rebound. Kyrie Hines goes up to Keon Lane for the alley-oop. That one's no good. Mingo puts one up, and that one is no good. We saw it against East Chicago. They came out right away to Keon Lane for the alley-oop. They tried it again. It didn't work.
And it's unfortunate because they had the look. Just didn't execute it to perfection this time.
I could have given them a nice momentum boost right there. This one's up, and it is in and out.
Interesting strategy by Mingo to put the ball behind his back before shooting it. I don't think I've actually ever seen anyone do that.
This place is rocking now. Can feel it. Mingo, no good.
You got to have something there. Very lost opportunity there for Morton.
Beatty almost fell. Gets to Keon Sellers. Keon Sellers to Graciano. Graciano to Beatty. Beatty for 2, no good. Graciano couldn't come up with that one. And Mingo able to get 2 for Morton. Less than a minute to go here in this third quarter. See if Morton can get some momentum going into the fourth quarter. They are going to need it. They want to come back against Lake Central. Graciano, Sellers, fakes it, and it's going to be called a travel on Keon Sellers.
And he had Tomczyk wide open on the left block. He's got to see him and hit him there for an easy layup.
Derek Hobbs will check back in for Isaac B.
Morton, a chance to get some momentum back on your side before the final quarter.
Mingo to Collins. They were able to get a 3 by Keon Lane at the end of the first half. Let's see what they can do to end the third quarter. Collins passes it out to Kyrie Hines. Mingo goes inside, fouled by Nick Anderson, and he will come to the free throw line.
Chance to redeem himself a little bit here. He missed both last time down.
Christopher Mingo. We're going to need this. He's good. He went 1 of 2 last time from the line. For Mingo, second one's up, no good. You need every point you can get to make a comeback. Let's see what Lake Central could do at the end of the third quarter. Nick Anderson in the game right now. Hobbs to Graciano. Graciano gets it to Nick Anderson. We see what he could do at the end of the half. He gets the ball taken away. Collins can't get the shot off.
And that will frustrate the Morton coaching staff. It's more than anything that's happened thus far. You have to be aware of the clock in that situation. A chance to make it a 10-point game.
No awareness there by Collins. That's when you'll look back on in the film room and go, wow.
Bad awareness there by Collins. With that said, the first ever Lake Central hosted sectional in basketball.
Yes.
So Lake Central a chance to make some history on their home floor.
And if they are able to win tonight, and if they're able to hang on to this lead, it will be their first sectional championship since 2014.
Meanwhile, Morton searching for their first sectional championship since 1976.
Very long time.
42 years.
Start of the fourth quarter. Tomczyk finds Graciano. Graciano is fouled by Collins. And if you're Morton, you got to play aggressive on defense. But if you keep fouling early, then for the rest of the quarter, you are just going to send Lake Central to the free throw line, and you cannot have that. Hobbs gets the inbound. Hobbs to Graciano. Tomczyk goes inside, gets it to Hobbs. Tomczyk to Hobbs. Hobbs goes to the layup, and that one is good. Puts Lake Central up by 14.
Sophomore point guard again, getting inside and getting to the basket.
Mingo for three. No good. Collins able to get the rebound. Mingo. And that one is still from Nick Anderson Jack Davis. And it'll go back to Lake Central. And steal, and Graciano able to get it. Bad play by Tariq Silas of Morton. Tomczyk for three. Tomczyk hits the three. And that one,
17-point lead, and it comes from a sloppy play by Morton. They get a steal, and then they throw it away
another
immediately.
sloppy play. Tomczyk gets the two. And Lake Central now up 19 with 6:33 left.
Winner of this game will head to Michigan City for a regional semifinal, and then a win there gets you to a regional championship game. You can start dreaming about the state championship at that point, but you got to get through this one first if you're Lake Central.
Well, if you remember that 2014 team that won sectionals, they ended up going to state.
Yes, they did. That team had Tyler Weidman, Butler standout, as well as Ty Wilburn, who's playing for Wright State University now. And their opponent, the game actually just went final, South Bend Riley, winning 98-58 over there. And if that sounds intimidating enough, that team has not lost a game yet this season. So if you want to start looking ahead, planning your next Saturday morning, it does look like it could be Lake Central against South Bend Riley.
Very daunting task for Lake Central to go and beat an undefeated team in Michigan City.
Yes, it is, but that's why they play the games, right?
Yep.
Still, got a whole 6:33 to go here before we start talking about regionals.
And it's played on the court, not on paper. Kyrie Hines, most loved man here tonight. Collins to Mingo. Mingo for two. No good. Graciano able to get the rebound. Hobbs. Let's see if Lake Central just tries to waste some clock here. Jack Davis almost gets the ball taken away from him. Jack Davis does get the ball taken away from him. Collins goes for two, no good. And Keon Lane could come up with that rebound. Hobbs has to fight for it, but he gets it. Hobbs to Davis. Davis for three. Hits the three!
Might be a little bit early for a dagger, but certainly going to be tough to come back from this one. 22-point deficit with 5:35 to go.
And Lake Central now up 20 points. It's going to be very, very hard for Morton to come back. They're going to need a miracle. As Keon Sellers commits the foul there, Keon Lane will come to the line. We'll shoot a free throw.
Chance to respond to the three-pointer.
And he does. And for Morton, Miguel Burns and Jonathan Little will come into the game. Christopher Mingo will come out, and so will number 14, Kyrie Hines.
And if you're Morton, no more empty possessions on offense.
Tomzek, Sellers hits the two, and you got to play better on defense, too.
Yeah, exactly. But right now, these offensive possessions are critical. You have to score almost every time you get down the floor.
Three, no good. Graciano gets the rebound. Lake Central now just dominating this game on both ends. No foul called. Graciano gets the ball. Hops to Sellers. Sellers to Connor Tomzek. Graciano for three. Hits the three. And that might be the dagger.
24-point lead. And Morton, again, they had Hobbs trapped. Made him pick up his dribble in the paint. Had almost nowhere to go with it, and he was able to escape.
Keon Lane. Gets it to Burns. Lopton. To Little. Collins puts one up, and that one is no good. And he's able to keep it in, but it goes back to Lake Central, and Davis almost was trapped. And it's going to be a foul.
Some discussions going on between the Morton players about why no one was there to get the ball when it was thrown back into play.
And the starters for Lake Central will come out. 4:11 to go.
Again, the winner of the first ever Lake Central sectional will be determined here in a little over 4 minutes.
And the winner of that game will take on South Bend Riley in the regional semifinals. And if you're Morton, listen, game isn't over yet, but you just got to be proud. I mean, you came into this, you weren't expected to be Highland. You did that, and you weren't as much of an underdog versus East Chicago, but you pulled that off too. You got to the sectional championship. It wasn't the result that you wanted, but you just have to be proud.
Yeah, absolutely. The slogan on the back of their shirts ever since the passing of their coach Robert Hall is "Ball for Hall." I think they've done an incredible job in this sectional tournament. You know, their season really didn't go the way you would have liked, and they come in really as the heavy underdogs for the whole field. To get as far as they did, I think, shows a lot of passion and a lot of heart.
Hobbs to Graciano. As for the seniors, for Lake Central, this will be the last game on their home court, no matter what happens here. So you certainly love to get a win in your last game here. And it'll stay with Lake Central with 3:46.
And this group trying to avenge the loss they suffered last year in the sectional championship game against East Chicago. Many of the same players that were in that game are here now.
Yes, pretty much all of the starting five. All of the starting five, actually. Hobbs. Tomzik. Tomzik is fouled on the way up.
Hopton couldn't believe it, and perhaps some frustration maybe setting in for Morton as they see the game getting away from them.
Tomzik, first one up, and it's good.
But still, not time to let your guard down if you're Lake Central, and not time to give up if you're Morton. These are the kind of games you have to grind out to the bitter end.
Tomzik puts it in. Keon Lane. This will be his last high school game as a senior. Kyrie Hines, also a senior. It's up a three, and that one's no good. Tomzik able to get the rebound. Tomzik. It looks like all the bench for Lake Central gets ready to come in, and this is going to be a foul